In a few months, brand new NFL season will start. Thursday night, September the 6th, a 256 game journey will commence and go all the way in through Sunday, December 30th. And then the playoffs in Super Bowl 53. 256 game schedule has been released, and tonight, for the seventh time, it'll be our seventh annual 2018 Strictly Sports NFL schedule release special. Hello, friends. Anthony Flair here with you for this very special edition of Strictly Sports. It's one of our biggest shows of the year. Joined by Michael Bullock. Pains me to say this, but good old MF Michael Fletcher is not with us this evening. I was really hoping he would have been here for this because this is one of our biggest shows of the year. And, well, it is what it is. So, Michael Bullock and I will navigate what we consider the must-see games of the 2018 NFL schedule that came out last night. Changing plans from our original docket. We had a small docket coming up, but once I heard that the schedule was coming out, I posted it to everybody, and I think I said a change in docket was in order. Derek agreed, so here we go. 2018 NFL schedule, and here we go. Of course, you start at the beginning. You started at week 1, and here we go. Thursday, September the 6th, the Atlanta Falcons will be squaring off against the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles in Philadelphia on NBC. Of course, that's always a big deal because it's the Super Bowl champs. First game out. Definitely a great matchup there. Some other standout games for week 1 going into the Sunday slate on September 9th. My Buffalo Bills against the Baltimore Ravens. Looking forward to that one. I might give Jacksonville and the Giants a look. I mean, that looks like an interesting matchup there. I know the Giants were disappointing, but I'm willing to give that one a look because you know how surprising Jacksonville was. Also, keep an eye out on Tampa Bay and New Orleans. That could be an interesting matchup because Tampa Bay's a good young team, and the Saints, we know how good they are. The game of the week on the AFC side, without question, the Houston Texans against the New England Patriots in Gillette Stadium. Deshaun Watson, Tom Brady. Y'all remember that 5-star offensive shootout they had last year that New England won 36-33. San Francisco 49ers against the Minnesota Vikings. I'm going to give that one a look as well. Jimmy Garoppolo and the 49ers. Of course, Richard Sherman signing with the 49ers. Going up against the Vikings and their new quarterback, Kirk Cousins, at US Bank Stadium. Should be a fun game on that one. Keep an eye out on the Cincinnati Bengals against the Indianapolis Colts. I mean, that could be an interesting game. I know the Colts had a disappointing year last year, but that was because they didn't have Andrew Luck. I'm hearing he should be back this year, and if that's the case, keep an eye on that Cincinnati Indianapolis game. That could be a good one. Andy Dalton and Andrew Luck, in those dynamic offenses, that could be a fun one. And those are my standouts from the early window. From the late games, Kansas City Chiefs against the Los Angeles Chargers. How will the Chiefs fare without Alex Smith? Because you know Alex Smith now with the Washington Redskins. Was it's going to be Patrick Mahomes who's going to be leading the Kansas City Chiefs against Phillip Rivers and the Chargers. Seattle Seahawks, Denver Broncos. A rematch of Super Bowl 48. Dallas Cowboys against the Carolina Panthers. I love that matchup. Dak Prescott and Zeke Elliott going up against Cam Newton and company. That should be a fun one. I wouldn't be surprised if that ends up being the Joe Buck game there. Washington Redskins against the Arizona Cardinals. Alex Smith going up against the Arizona Cardinals. Alex Smith now with the Washington Redskins. Sunday Night Football, I know it's not the most attractive, but it's the oldest rivalry in the NFL. That's why it has to be addressed. The Chicago Bears and the Green Bay Packers at Lambeau Field. And then a Monday Night Football doubleheader. You got the New York Jets against the Detroit Lions. Not really much there. That is Matt Patricia's NFL head coaching debut with the Lions. But the second game is actually more anticipated than the first game. Hard to believe, but that's true. The Los Angeles Rams against the Oakland Raiders in the Oakland Coliseum, the Black Hole. John Gruden returns to the NFL coaching sidelines, and how fitting his first game on Monday Night Football, where he worked for so many years as the color analyst with Sean McDonough, Mike Tirico, and so many others. But that Ram Raider game, that's got potential to be something really good. You know how great the Rams are, how great they were last year. They loaded up. We talked about it here on the show many times. Jared Goff, Brandon Cooks, and so many great and those great young talents going up against the Raiders. We just got Jordy Nelson and Derek Carr. So that's pretty much my standouts for week one. So, Michael Bullock, come on in. Let's get your thoughts. What are your standout games for week one of the 2018 NFL season now that we got the full schedule out?
Yeah, the standout games for me, obviously, it's the Falcons and the Eagles to kick off the season. Of course, obviously, it's a rematch, of course, for that divisional matchup where nobody gave the Eagles a chance, and look what happened. And the rest, as they say, is history. So, in another standout game, the Houston Texans and the New England Patriots. Because remember, that was a pretty good game last year when these two went at it. So, who knows? We could be looking at another one. Buffalo and Baltimore, like you said, that could be a good one as well. Um, Jacksonville and the Giants. It's going to be interesting to see if Jacksonville can have a repeat from last season. And yeah, I mean, in the late games, the Chiefs and the Chargers. How will the Chiefs fare out with a new look team? The Dallas Cowboys and the Carolina Panthers. That's another one. Um, the Seahawks and the Broncos. Chicago and Green Bay, just because it's one of the oldest rivalries in the NFL, and of course that Monday Night Football doubleheader. Obviously, one of them I'll be looking forward to, the Raiders and the Rams. So yeah, that's pretty much my standout games from week one. So let's move right along to week two.
All right, Bullock, you started off. What games from week two are standing out to you?
Well, obviously, I think the first one that stands out to me. What else? It's the season premiere of Thursday Night Football on not just the NFL Network, but a news station. Fox will also have it, so that's going to be interesting to see because we still don't know who the commentary team is going to be for Thursday Night Football. Uh, and another one that stands out: Carolina and Atlanta, um, Minnesota and Green Bay. That should be a good one as well. I mean, Miami and the Dolphins and the Jets, just because of their history. The Kansas City Chiefs and the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, we all know, of course, of their playoff matchup in Kansas City, where Pittsburgh barely won that one. Houston, Tennessee, that could be a very interesting game there. Um, and now on to the slate from the later games that I could be interested in. Yeah, I mean, Detroit and San Francisco, that could be a really good one. Um, Oakland and Denver, but the one real standout game from that late game is the one I'm going to have a major vested interest in. And you want to know why, Florio? Because it's the AFC Championship game rematch in Jacksonville. The New England Patriots and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Who could ever forget that five-star classic AFC title game, chock full of Shakespearean drama at its absolute finest? And I did see, Florio, that CBS is going to be having that game. So I think we know who's doing this one.
Hello,
I think
friend.
we know. Yep. Yep, that is correct. Jim Nance, Tony Romo, and Tracy Wolfson. Well, I know for sure we'll be having that game. No doubt about it in my mind. And then of course, Sunday Night Football because of the another rivalry, a divisional rival matchup, the Giants and the Dallas Cowboys. So those are my standout games for week number 2. So Florio, which week 2 games have your vested interest?
Well, I'll tell you, Bullock, Baltimore Ravens and the Cincinnati Bengals on that Thursday night. Definitely looking forward to that. We all remember what happened at the end of last season on New Year's Eve. We'll never forget it. Ravens thought they were on their way to the postseason until Andy Dalton found Tyler Boyd on 4th and 12, and the rest is history. Cincinnati won the game, and it sent my Buffalo Bills to the postseason, and I'm forever grateful to that franchise for doing that. So obviously, Baltimore and Cincinnati on the NFL Network, and then the Sunday slate: Carolina and Atlanta at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, the home of Super Bowl 53, mind you. Cam Newton, Matt Ryan, those dynamic offenses. I'm expecting a shootout in that one. Indianapolis and Washington. I like that matchup there. Pierre Garcon against his former team and Andrew Luck. If he's healthy and he's ready to go, imagine him and T.Y. Hilton and company against Alex Smith and that new look Redskin offense. That might be an interesting one. Houston and Tennessee. I like that matchup as well, especially with Deshaun Watson. Hopefully, we'll have J.J. Watt back and Marcus Mariota ready to go for Tennessee. Philadelphia against Tampa Bay. That should be a great matchup, whether it's Nick Foles or Carson Wentz under center for Philly. Tampa, that great young team with Jameis Winston. Um, Kansas City and Pittsburgh, definitely looking at that one as well. I mean, Bullock mentioned that divisional game they had a couple years ago. That was supposed to be a Sunday afternoon, but got pushed to a Sunday night because of an ice storm in the area. Los Angeles Chargers against my Buffalo Bills. That's going to be a fun game, I think. Minnesota and Green Bay. A lot of history there, a lot of bad blood. Green Bay will have revenge on their mind because we all remember last season Anthony Barr knocking out Aaron Rodgers, breaking his collarbone, and changing the complexion of both teams' seasons alone with just that one hit. And that's it for the early window. Late window, Detroit against San Francisco. Obviously, we'll definitely consider that a sleeper matchup. Game of the week, obviously, the AFC Championship rematch, the New England Patriots and the Jacksonville Jaguars. MF and I are gonna be all over that one. You better believe that. At Everbank Field in Jacksonville. Oakland Raiders, Denver Broncos. That's another standout right there. New York Giants, Dallas Cowboys. Surprisingly, that's not the week 1 Sunday night game. That's been the week 1 Sunday night game for 30 straight years now? Well, not this time. So, and the Monday night game, I have no interest in that one whatsoever. That's kind of on the meh side. So there you go. So those are my standouts for week 2. Let's move on now to week number 3. Pay no attention to the Thursday game. That's a meh matchup, so we're just going to move on. Even though the Thursday night schedule is one of the best Thursday night schedules I've ever seen, that's one of the few meh matchups. So let's go right to the Sunday slate. New Orleans Saints against the Atlanta Falcons. Ooh, that's going to be a fun game, I think. Drew Brees, Matt Ryan, Mercedes-Benz Stadium. First to 50 wins that one. Green Bay and Washington. I love that matchup. Aaron Rodgers, Alex Smith. That should be a fun one there. Indianapolis, Philadelphia. Andrew Luck. T.Y. Hilton and the Colts against Carson Wentz and or Nick Foles and the Super Bowl champs. Should be a good one there. Buffalo against Minnesota. My Buffalo Bills against Minnesota. 2 great defenses. That could be a defensive battle, I think. Denver and Baltimore. I love that matchup. The Broncos and the Ravens. That should be a good one there. Speaking of defenses, two more great defenses right there. That should be a good defensive battle. Cincinnati Bengals against the Carolina Panthers. That could be a shootout there. Andy Dalton, Cam Newton, definitely like that matchup. New York Giants against the Houston Texans. That could be an interesting game there. As is Tennessee against Jacksonville, and San Francisco and Kansas City. Um, two, we got Jimmy Garoppolo against Patrick Mahomes. That should be an interesting game there. Late window, the Battle of Los Angeles, the Los Angeles Chargers and the Los Angeles Rams at the LA Memorial Coliseum. Philip Rivers and company against Jared Goff. Definitely looking forward to that one. Dallas Cowboys, Seattle Seahawks. A lot of history with those two. Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott, Jason Witten and folks against the Seahawks. The Legion of Boom, now without Richard Sherman. And Sunday Night Football, the New England Patriots against the Detroit Lions. Matt Patricia going up against his former team where he served as defensive coordinator for the last few years. It's gonna be a great matchup anyway. I mean, Tom Brady against Matthew Stafford. That's definitely worth the Sunday night slot, I think. And then Monday Night Football, the Pittsburgh Steelers against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Ben Roethlisberger, Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell against Jameis Winston, Mike Evans and crew down at Raymond James Stadium. So good slate for Week 3. I only see a couple of meh games here, but other than that, that's a loaded slate. There's only like 2 or 3 bad games. Other than that, I like the slate for Week 3 very much so. So with that being said, Michael Bullock, come on back in. Week 3, you see the matchups? Besides your New England-Detroit matchup, what stands out for you in Week 3?
Yeah, I mean, well, starting with the early games, I mean, obviously the New Orleans Atlanta game, I mean, that's the one I'm definitely going to have a vested interest in. Denver and Baltimore, that could be a good one as well. I mean, Tennessee and Jacksonville, that's another good game there. The 49ers and the Chiefs, that should be a good one. I mean, Oakland, Miami, Buffalo, and Minnesota, those could be some good ones. The Battle of LA in the late game, the Cowboys and the Seahawks, that should be a good one. And like you said, the Sunday night matchup, the Patriots against their former defensive coordinator Matt Patricia and the Detroit Lions, and who knows, maybe Pittsburgh and Tampa Bay could be a good one if Pittsburgh has a bounce back year. So those are some of my standouts. So let's move on to week number 4, and I am going to start this one out.
Yes, indeed. And what a way to start it off with a wonderful Thursday night matchup. Wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, it starts off in a really good way with the Minnesota Vikings and the LA Rams. I mean, that should be a really good one, and that could be a good defensive battle because both defenses are good. So that could definitely be something worth watching. Now when it comes to Sunday, Detroit and Dallas, that could be a good one with the battle of Matthew Stafford and Dak Prescott. Buffalo and Green Bay, that could be a good one too. Philadelphia and Tennessee, that's going to be a good one. See how Tennessee does against the defending Super Bowl champs. In the late game, the 49ers and the Chargers, that could be a good one. And of course, Baltimore and Pittsburgh, it's the Sunday Night Football, of course, of their long-standing history. And then, of course, you got the Monday night, Kansas City and Denver. I mean, that should be a good one as well. So those are some of my standouts. And, of course, well, besides of course the game I'll be watching, of course, the Dolphins and the Patriots. So there's really nothing more for me to say. So let's move on to your standout games for week number 4.
What a way to start it off with a wonderful Thursday night matchup, and I do mean wonderful. Look at this matchup: the Minnesota Vikings and the Los Angeles Rams in the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum. Great defense against a great offense. Something has to give in that one, no doubt about it. Miami Dolphins, New England Patriots, because we got a buddy bowl in that one. Michael Bullock along with Derek Ferreira leading Patriot Nation against MF, Michael Fletcher, and Eric Carrier and their Dolphin family. Should be a lot of fun in that one. And of course, MF and Bullock actually went to the game last year between the Dolphins and the Patriots at Gillette Stadium. So, see what happens with that. Philadelphia Eagles, Tennessee Titans. Couldn't agree more. That's a sleeper matchup right there. Super Bowl champs against Marcus Mariota and crew. Should be a fun one in Nashville. Houston Texans, Indianapolis Colts. That's a standout for me. I'm only mentioning the Colts because of Andrew Luck. That's all I can say. If Andrew Luck comes back, the Colts will be back in contention without a doubt. The battle of my two personal favorite teams, the Buffalo Bills and the Green Bay Packers at Lambeau Field. See how that goes. Detroit Lions against the Dallas Cowboys. Matthew Stafford against Dak Prescott. Should be a fun one there. And then rounding out the early games for me, I'm surprised Bullock didn't mention this. I think this could be a good one. The Cincinnati Bengals against the Atlanta Falcons. I see potential in that matchup. I see a shootout there. That could be a first to 40 or 50 wins. Andy Dalton, Matt Ryan, two dynamic offenses. Definitely looking forward to that one. Late window, New Orleans Saints against the New York Giants. I like that matchup. Drew Brees, Eli Manning. Should be a great one in the Meadowlands, no doubt about it. I know the Giants were a disappointment, but I think they're going to be a better team this year. I really do. The injuries were what killed them, especially Odell Beckham Jr. San Francisco and the Chargers. I agree with that. Jimmy Garoppolo, the 49ers, they started 1-10. They won 5 in a row to close out the season, became the hottest team, 6-10. Of course, the addition of Richard Sherman on the defense, going up against Phillip Rivers and crew at the StubHub Center. Of course, Sunday Night Football, that's the game of the week on our side, without a doubt. The Baltimore Ravens and the Pittsburgh Steelers. A lot of bad blood, a lot of history, and who will ever forget that Sunday night game they had back in December? I mean, that was a 5-star classic and then some. That Pittsburgh won 39-38 to win the AFC North yet again, and the last 2 times they met in Pittsburgh, this past December, and then of course Christmas 2016. We'll never forget either of those matchups. They were both 5-star classics, chock full of Shakespearean drama at their absolute finest. I have no doubt in my mind that will be a 5-star Shakespearean drama classic there. And then rounding it out, Monday Night Football, Kansas City Chiefs, Denver Broncos in Mile High. Should be a great one. Always fun when they get together. So that takes care of week 4. Now let's go to week 5. And another good Thursday night matchup here. A rivalry renewed. Once upon a time, when these two teams got together, it was always fun. Of course, the rivalry no longer has that luster, but this is going to be a great one. I still think it's got a potential to be a good one. The Indianapolis Colts against the New England Patriots at Gillette Stadium. Andrew Luck against Tom Brady. That could be a fun one there. Tennessee Titans against the Buffalo Bills, starting with the Sunday slate. How about the Atlanta Falcons and the Pittsburgh Steelers? That could be a Super Bowl preview right there if you really think about it. Matt Ryan, Julio Jones going up against Big Ben and Antonio Brown. Oof. 2 of the best quarterback wide receiver combos in the NFL today at Heinz Field. That's a game I'm very much going to have a vested interest in. Jacksonville Jaguars, Kansas City Chiefs at Arrowhead. We'll see how Patrick Mahomes deals with Saxonville, if you will, that vaunted Jaguar defense. Green Bay Packers, Detroit Lions, rivalry game. Aaron Rodgers, Matthew Stafford, a lot of history with those two. Always fun when they get together, no doubt about it. And I have no doubt that's going to be a fun one at Ford Field. And then rounding out the Early window for me, the New York Giants against the Carolina Panthers, Eli Manning, Odell Beckham Jr. against Cam Newton and crew at Bank of America Stadium. Should be a great one there. Late window, Oakland Raiders, Los Angeles Chargers. Ooh, that's got potential to be fun at the StubHub Center. Derek Carr with Jordy Nelson against Philip Rivers and the ageless wonder Antonio Gates. Still doing things at a high level. Of course, Keenan Allen. Can't forget about him. In the late window, the rematch of the NFC Championship game, the Minnesota Vikings and the Philadelphia Eagles. Hopefully, this will be the 5-star classic we should have gotten. I thought this past NFC title game had potential to be a 5-star classic. Unfortunately, it was a major letdown. It was an absolute dud. Philadelphia just absolutely pounded Minnesota 38-7, ruining my dream. My dream was for Minnesota to win, so we could have had New England and Minnesota in the Super Bowl in Minnesota, and Minnesota could have been the first team to ever host the Super Bowl. That would have been so much fun. But hey, the Super Bowl we ended up getting ended up being a classic, so I'm grateful. Los Angeles Rams against the Seattle Seahawks. They had two very close games last year, and then from there, how about this interesting Sunday night matchup? The Dallas Cowboys against the Houston Texans. Dak Prescott against Deshaun Watson, two of the great college quarterbacks of all time going at it in the pros. And then how about Monday Night Football? I love this matchup. The Washington Redskins against the New Orleans Saints in the Superdome. Alex Smith, Drew Brees. Yes, please. So those are my standouts for week number 5. Bullock, what says you when it comes to week 5? What stands out?
Yeah, what stands out? What stands out to me for week number 5? I mean, yeah, the Patriots and the Colts kicking off week 5. I mean, it may not be the same, but it could still be good when you got Andrew Luck and Tom Brady. Tennessee and Buffalo, obviously a rematch of that wild card game. And of course, Miami and Cincinnati. That should be a good one. The Packers and the Lions, because of their history, and of course the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Kansas City Chiefs. How will Patrick Mahomes, like you said, deal with the Saxonville? The Falcons and the Steelers. That's another game I'll have a lot of interest in. The Vikings and the Eagles. That should be a good one there. The rematch of the NFC Championship game. The Rams and the Hawks. That should be a good one. And Dallas and Houston on Sunday Night Football. So, yeah. So that's pretty much does it for what stands out for me for week 5. No, let's go to week 6 now, and I basically lead it off on this one.
What do you got?
All right. Obviously, of course, I have to start off on Thursday night, of course. Why? Because it's another divisional rivalry matchup there with, of course, the Eagles and the Giants. And Pittsburgh and Cincinnati, that could be a good one there too. The Buffalo Bills and the Houston Texans, that could be a good one too. Arizona and Minnesota. Seattle against Oakland, that could be a good one too. The Rams and the Broncos, that could be a good one, especially with the defenses on both sides. Jacksonville and Dallas, that could be a good one too. Baltimore and Tennessee, another late game. Of course, Sunday night football, we got the Patriots and the Chiefs. Of course, a rematch from the opener where the Patriots got walloped in that one. And San Fran and Green Bay, that could be a good one too. So yeah, that's pretty much my standout game. So Florio, what stands out to you for Week 6?
Of course, you got to start with the Philadelphia Eagles and the New York Giants in the Meadowlands. I mean, two standout moments from that rivalry were both known as the Miracle in the Meadowlands. 1978, Herman Edwards scooping up a fumble and taking it all the way for a touchdown to win for Philadelphia. Then, of course, the greatest game those two teams ever played, December the 19th of 2010. I'll never forget it. I remember watching it with my dad. It was a special day. We got to enjoy a 5-star classic. Those two, when Deshaun Jackson ran that punt back all the way for a game-winning touchdown and made Joe Buck go nuts, which I'll never forget. Maybe he'll go nuts again if they have him doing that game. We'll see. Sunday slate, we got Tampa Bay against Atlanta. I'm going to keep an eye on that one with Jameis Winston and Matt Ryan. Carolina and Washington, keep an eye out for that one with Cam Newton and Alex Smith. Seattle and Oakland, I think that game's in London. I think that's one of the 3 London games. Because that game is listed as a 1:00 game, so we'll see how that goes. I mean, that's an old AFC West rivalry renewed. The Seattle and Oakland should be a good one there. I suppose I'll give Arizona and Minnesota a look. I mean, I'm not really sure about that one, but we'll see. Pittsburgh and Cincinnati, absolutely. A lot of bad blood between those two, especially Le'Veon Bell and Vontaze Burfict. I mean, you know the story with those two, obviously. Buffalo and Houston, I agree with that. The standout game for me right there. Late window, the Rams and the Broncos in Mile High. Defensive Player of the Year, Aaron Donald going up leading his defense against Von Miller and that defense. My goodness, that should be something. Another old divisional rivalry renewed. The Baltimore Ravens and the Tennessee Titans, old AFC Central rivals meeting in Nashville. Joe Flacco against Marcus Mariota. That's got potential to be something really good. But I'm more looking forward to, even though I'm looking forward to that game, I'm also looking forward to that Jacksonville Dallas game. I mean, that Jacksonville defense against Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott, that's got potential to be something really fun there in Jerry World. Kansas City and New England. Patriots obviously looking for revenge against the Chiefs after the Chiefs ruined their Super Bowl celebration in week 1 of last year. And then Monday Night Football, San Francisco and Green Bay. A lot of history with those two, especially in the 90s and the 2000s. They met in the playoffs like 6 or 7 times. And, you know, Joe Montana and Steve Young with Brett Favre. But that was then. This is now. You got Jimmy Garoppolo and Aaron Rodgers, Richard Sherman going up against that Packer offense. So, Packer offense that no longer has Jordy Nelson. So, we'll see how that goes. So those are the standouts for week 6. Let's go to week 7. I'm a little iffy about that Thursday night game with Denver against Arizona. Can't say I'm over the moon about it, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. The Sunday slate. This is a London game, I know for sure, because of the start time, 9:30 in the morning. The Tennessee Titans against the Los Angeles Chargers at Wembley Stadium, as Derek Ferreira calls it, the Cathedral of Soccer. That's going to be a fun one there with Marcus Mariota against Phillip Rivers. Cincinnati, Kansas City. I'm gonna give that one a look. Carolina against Philadelphia. I love that matchup. I mean, Cam Newton going up against Carson Wentz and the Super Bowl champs at the Link. That should be a fun one. Moving on to another old divisional rivalry being renewed. Former AFC East rivals going at it with Buffalo and Indianapolis. That could be a fun one at Lucas Oil Stadium. Houston and Jacksonville. Deshaun Watson, J.J. Watt and company against Blake Bortles and that vaunted defense. Late games, you got New Orleans and Baltimore. That great Saints offense against that great Raven defense in Baltimore at M&T Bank Stadium. See how that goes. And how about this? This is a game normally that would be on Fox, but CBS is going to have this one. The Dallas Cowboys and the Washington Redskins. Wow. Woo-hoo. Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott against Alex Smith and crew. That's going to be a fun one there in our nation's capital. Sunday Night Football, the Los Angeles Rams and the San Francisco 49ers. Who will ever forget last year at Levi's Stadium on a Thursday night? A game that we thought was going to absolutely suck. And what happened? These two over-delivered and then some, and gave us one of the most entertaining Thursday night football games that we've seen in recent memory. The Rams beat the Niners 41-39. Funny, I came across a highlight package of that video on the NFL's Facebook page a short time just before the show, and I'm like, wow. If they could do that last year, who knows what they'll have in store for us this year? Or Jared Goff against Jimmy Garoppolo. And then Monday Night Football, give it a look. The New York Giants and the Atlanta Falcons. Eli Manning, hopefully Odell Beckham Jr. against Matt Ryan and Julio Jones. Two more great quarterback receiver duos. That should be a fun one at the home of Super Bowl 53 on that Monday night. So those are my standouts for Week 7. Michael Bullock, come on in. You see the matchups? What stands out to you?
Yeah, what stands out to me, obviously, I got to go with the Tennessee and the LA Chargers. That's a standout game for me. I mean, Buffalo and Indianapolis, that could be another one there. Houston and Jacksonville, that could be an intriguing one. See how Deshaun Watson does against that Jacksonville defense. Cincinnati and Kansas City is another standout for me. I mean, Detroit and Miami, that could be one as well. Carolina against Philadelphia, that's another standout game. New Orleans against Baltimore, that could be a good one there. And of course, Sunday Night Football, the LA Rams and the San Francisco 49ers. So those are pretty much my standouts. So Floria, let's move right along to week number 1.
Go right ahead.
All right. My first standout game, I got to go with the Thursday night game, Miami and Houston. But of course, the Philadelphia Eagles against Jacksonville, that should be a good one. I mean, how is that offense of Philadelphia with all those weapons going up against that Jacksonville defense? So that one I really interested to see. Baltimore and Carolina, that could be another good one there. The Seahawks and that defense against the Detroit Lions and that offense. The Denver Broncos and the Kansas City Chiefs. That's another standout game for me, anyway. San Fran and Arizona is another one. The Green Bay Packers going up against the LA Rams. And, of course, Sunday Night Football, the New Orleans Saints, the Minnesota Vikings. What's the one thing that comes to your mind, Florio, when you hear that matchup?
The most epic call of Joe Buck's career?
Yep, and
the Minneapolis Miracle.
Case oh, Pete. Yeah. You could basically name it all. You could basically name it all. But as far as greatest divisional playoff games in history, wow, I don't know where to rank this. I mean, it's in the top 5. I'd definitely say that. Whereabouts in the top 5, that's tough for me to do. But that's the only question is, how can these two? Can they put on another classic? It's possible, but we'll just have to wait and see. And of course, Monday Night Football, the Patriots and the Bills. So Nothing more to say. So, Florio, your standouts for week number 8.
Um, I'll be honest. I'm not really sure about that Thursday matchup with Miami and Houston. I'm not really sold on Miami because of some of their departures. You know, they lost Landry, and I think they lost Ndamukong Suh as well. So I think Houston could have an easy time in that one. So I'm just going to go into the Sunday matchups, starting with the game that, for the most part, was almost the Super Bowl. It easily should have been the Super Bowl. The Philadelphia Eagles and the Jacksonville Jaguars. If the Jaguars didn't choke away that 10-point lead with 9 minutes to go against New England in that AFC title game, this would have been Super Bowl 52 with Philly and Jacksonville. But we're going to get it in London, 9:30 a.m. start time on the NFL Network. That's going to be a fun one, no doubt about it. Nick Foles or Carson Wentz against Blake Bortles. That great Eagle offense against that phenomenal Jacksonville defense. Denver and Kansas City, the history with those two in Arrowhead. Always fun when they get together there. Washington and the Giants. I like that matchup. Alex Smith and Eli Manning. Should be a great one in the Meadowlands. Seattle and Detroit. Definitely agree with that. How will Matthew Stafford and that great offense fare against the Legion of Boom at Ford Field? Tampa Bay and Cincinnati. I'd give that one a look. I mean, Tampa Bay with Jameis Winston and Mike Evans going up against the Bengals with Andy Dalton and AJ Green. Could be a good one there. I love that Baltimore Carolina game. That's standing out to me. With Joe Flacco and company against Cam Newton, that could be a great one down there. I'm surprised he didn't mention this one, Bullock. Indianapolis and Oakland. I mean, let's not forget Christmas Eve 2016. Who will ever forget it? Indianapolis responsible for breaking Derek Carr's leg and totally changing the complexion of the Raiders season in 2016. That doesn't happen. That Raider team could have gone very far. They really could have. Green Bay and the Rams. Oh my goodness, that's got 5-star shootout written all over it in the Coliseum. Aaron Rodgers, Jared Goff. Oof, that could be a lot of fun. And then Sunday Night Football, the New Orleans Saints and the Minnesota Vikings. The rematch of the Minneapolis Miracle. Not only the most epic call of Joe Buck's NFL career, but Case Keenum, 61-yard Hail Mary to Stephon Diggs. That sent the Vikings to the NFC Championship and set the crowd at US Bank Stadium into absolute euphoria. I mean, to sum it all up, the greatest ending to an NFL playoff game ever. Forget the Super Bowl, forget the conference championships, divisionals, wild card, what have you. That's the greatest ending to a playoff game you'll ever see. No other ending to a playoff game going forward is ever going to top that. And then, of course, Monday Night Football, the New England Patriots and the Buffalo Bills. Woohoo. Me and Jason Hixenbaugh going up against Bullock, Derek, and the rest of Patriot Nation. I mean, my goodness. That's going to be something very special, I think. So, very much looking forward to that. So that's it for week 8. We're just about at the halfway mark. Let's move on to week number 9. And we started off with a sleeper Thursday night football matchup. The Oakland Raiders and the San Francisco 49ers at Levi's Stadium. Derek Carr, Jordy Nelson going up against Jimmy G. Should be a good one there. Tampa Bay and Carolina. I like that matchup very much. I mean, Tampa and Carolina had some good games last year. I smell another good one with those two. Steelers, Ravens, part 2, this time in Baltimore. Of course, that's an automatic standout right there. Detroit against Minnesota. That's another sleeper matchup there. Remember, Detroit went into Minnesota and beat the Vikings last year, so we'll see if they can do it again. Atlanta Falcons against the Washington Redskins. Matt Ryan against Alex Smith. That should be a good one there. Um, Houston and Denver, two great defenses. J.J. Watt, Jadavion Clowney, Whitney Mercilus going up against Von Miller and that defense. That could be a good defensive battle there. Another old AFC West rivalry renewed. The Los Angeles Chargers against the Seattle Seahawks. That's got potential to be really good. Philip Rivers against Russell Wilson and crew. How about the Los Angeles Rams against the New Orleans Saints in the Superdome? These two met in LA last year. Rams won a good one. That was a close game. Not as high scoring as I thought it would be, but I think with this being in the dome, I think this could be a first to 50 wins. That's all I can say on that. Jared Goff and Brandon Cooks going up against his former team, or one of his former teams. This one being the Saints, the other, of course, being the Patriots. But he's going up against the Saints. He comes home to the Superdome as an LA Ram. We'll see what the crowd does. I don't think they'll crucify him that bad, because the Rams aren't really that big of a rival. I mean, well, they used to be rivals in the old NFC West back in the day, but what I'm really looking forward to is Sunday Night Football. To me, this is the game of the week. The Green Bay Packers and the New England Patriots. Only the second career meeting between Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady. The other, of course, being that game of the century we had November of 2014 at Lambeau, which the Packers went on to win. So, but I'm really looking forward to seeing Rodgers and Brady going at it. That's going to be hella fun. And Monday Night Football, absolutely. The Tennessee Titans against the Dallas Cowboys. DeMarco Murray coming home to Dallas, this time as the Tennessee Titans. So we'll see how that goes. But Marcus Mariota, Dak Prescott, another great collegiate quarterback matchup. So, and Ezekiel Elliott. So really looking forward to that one. So and of course Mariota and Elliott went on to meet in that national championship game with Oregon and Ohio State in that very same stadium, Jerry World, January 2015. We'll never forget it, with Ohio State coming out on top. So and winning it all. So there you go. So those are my standouts for week number 9. Bullock, I mean, Rodgers and Brady. Whoa, that's got potential to be a 5-star.
Oh yes, this definitely has got the potential to be 5 stars. But let's start off with some of the Thursday Night Football. The Oakland Raiders and the San Francisco 49ers. That could be a good one there. Of course, Pittsburgh and Baltimore. I mean, because of their rivalry. Tampa Bay and Carolina, that could also be a good one there. Man, I mean, Detroit and Minnesota, that looks like a game that's got my interest. Houston and Denver, that's another. The Chargers and the Seahawks. The LA Rams and the New Orleans Saints. But yeah, I mean, the Sunday Night Football matchup, that could have 5 stars with the Packers and the Patriots, of course. The Battle of the 12s, Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady. And like you said, this is only the second ever meeting for Aaron Rodgers against Tom Brady and the New England Patriots. Then Monday Night Football, the Tennessee Titans and the Dallas Cowboys. So there's really nothing more that needs to be said here. So let's move right along to week number 10, and I will start it off. And of course, the one game that I'll definitely one of the many games I'll have interest in is the Thursday night matchup, the Carolina Panthers and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Who knows? New Orleans and Cincinnati, that could be a good one there. Yeah. Jacksonville and Indianapolis. I mean, that could be good if Andrew Luck is up and himself again. Of course, the Buffalo Bills and the New York Jets, just because of their history. Washington and Tampa Bay, that could be good as well. that could, and the Chargers and the Raiders, just because of their history. Um, the Seahawks and the LA Rams, that could be a defensive battle there. So we'll have to wait and see. Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles is another standout game for me. So yeah, there really is nothing more that needs to be said. So Florio, your perspective of Week 10.
There's one game that you didn't mention, Bullock. I'm surprised you didn't mention it, but I'm going to get to it in a minute. Started off with Thursday Night Football. Absolutely. Carolina against Pittsburgh. Whoa. That could be a Super Bowl preview right there, too, if you really think about it. Cam Newton, Ben Roethlisberger. Oh, yeah. That's got potential to be fun. As does New Orleans and Cincinnati. Drew Brees and Andy Dalton. And those dynamic offenses. That should be fun at Paul Brown Stadium. Absolutely. Jacksonville and Indy. That depends on Andrew Luck's health, of course. I agree with that. The game that you didn't mention, Bullock, I'm very surprised. And I'm really surprised because it's your team, the Patriots, going up against Tennessee. How do you not mention that? That's a good one right there, as far as I'm concerned.
Oh yeah, and especially with two former Patriots on that team now.
Dion Lewis and who's the other one?
Malcolm Butler.
Malcolm Butler. That's right.
Yeah, Malcolm Butler's the other one.
Yeah, I slipped my line for a moment, but Dion Lewis and Malcolm Butler going up against their former team.
And of course, it's a rematch of the divisional round earlier in January.
Yeah, a game that Tennessee started off hot, but then New England cooled them right off.
Big time.
Oh, yeah. So New England and Pittsburgh. I mean, New England, well, it's New England and Pittsburgh down the road, but New England and Tennessee, Tom Brady, Marcus Mariota. That's going to be a lot of fun, I think. I'm hoping for a better game there. But with the game being in Nashville, I got a good feeling that will be a better game than the one at Gillette in January. Washington against Tampa Bay. I agree. Alex Smith, Jameis Winston. It's a good matchup there. Chargers and Raiders in the black hole. Phillip Rivers, Derek Carr. Should be a good one. Seattle and the Rams on CBS for the second year in a row in the Coliseum. The game they had there last year, Seattle won 16-10. That was a good defensive battle. That could be a good defensive battle as well. But we'll see. Russell Wilson against Jared Goff. Dallas and Philly on Sunday night. Oh, yeah. Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott going up against Carson Wentz and the Super Bowl champs. Always fun when they get together. And I'll even give the Giants and the Niners a look. I mean, Eli Manning and Odell Beckham Jr. going up against Richard Sherman in that defense and Jimmy G. So, yeah, that's got sleeper game potential right there. So with all that said, let's move on to week number 11. Thursday Night Football, another good one. The Green Bay Packers and the Seattle Seahawks. We'll never forget that memorable NFC Championship game they had, where Seattle came back from that 19-point deficit to win and advance to Super Bowl 49. There's one other memory, but we're not gonna talk about it because that was a controversial one. No controversy here. Moving along, and these games will coincide with the WWE Survivor Series because November 18th is the day of the Survivor Series that will be at the Staples Center in Los Angeles. Well, the Sunday night game at least, but we'll get to that in a minute. Cincinnati and Baltimore, part 2. This time in Baltimore. Cincinnati returning to the scene of the crime on New Year's Eve. Well, scene of the crime as far as Raven fans are concerned, but a divine appointment if you're a Buffalo Bills fan like myself and Jason Hixenbaugh. I mean, Dalton to Boyd, 4th and 12. That's all you need to know. Carolina against Detroit. Cam Newton, Matthew Stafford. Could be a great one there. Tennessee and Indianapolis. Andrew Luck's health, of course, depending on that. Dallas and Atlanta. The only difference is no Adrian Claiborne because he's with the Patriots now. We'll never forget what Adrian Claiborne did last year, Atlanta against Dallas. 6 sacks alone. for him. One off the all-time record, the late great Derek Thomas, with 7. Tampa Bay against the Giants. Jameis Winston, Eli Manning. That's got potential to be good. But how about the Philadelphia Eagles and the New Orleans Saints in the Superdome? First to 50 wins that one. I'm calling it right now. First to 50 wins that one. Carson Wentz again in that offense against Drew Brees in that offense. Whoa, Nelly, that's going to be fun. Houston and Washington. I like that matchup with Deshaun Watson against Alex Smith. Denver and the Chargers in LA at the StubHub Center. Should be a good one there. Sunday Night Football, a rematch of an amazing AFC divisional playoff matchup. The Pittsburgh Steelers and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jacksonville won 45-42. One of the greatest AFC divisional playoff games of all time, and one that doesn't get talked about much. One of the most underrated game I've ever. I mean, nobody talked about that. But Big Ben, Le'Veon Bell, and Antonio Brown against that Jacksonville defense. Jacksonville's had Pittsburgh's number. Will that happen? What a shame. This game has to coincide with the Survivor Series. Oh, man, I really wanted to see that game, but I'll have to DVR. I'll have to make a note to DVR that one. And then Monday Night Football, good one here. Kansas City and the Rams in the Coliseum. Could be a great matchup there. So those are my standouts for week number 11. So Michael Bullock, you look at that week 11 schedule. Aside from like 2 or 3 meh games, we got a loaded docket in week 11, and I'm looking forward to covering that in November.
Oh yeah, I mean that's Oh yeah, there's definitely a lot of good. I mean, a lot of good ones for week 11 here. So, oh, let me just pull it right back up here. I mean, for some reason it just went down with the. Oh, here we go. Yeah, Dallas and well, first off, of course, Thursday Night Football, the Green Bay Packers and the Seattle Seahawks. I mean, that should definitely be a good way to kick off week number 11. And then, of course, Dallas and Atlanta. Ooh, I mean, that could be something really good there. Maybe another offensive battle. Cincinnati and Baltimore. That's another one right there. The Carolina Panthers and the Detroit Lions. The Tennessee Titans and the Indianapolis Colts. That's another good one there. Tampa Bay and the Giants. That could be a good one there. I mean, the Eagles and the Saints. Another good one. That, of course, the Denver Broncos and the LA Chargers, and of course, Pittsburgh and Jacksonville on Sunday Night Football, and of course in the divisional round, of course, it's a rematch there, and of course the Kansas City Chiefs and the LA Rams close it out on Monday Night Football. So, yeah, there's nothing more that needs to be said. So let's move right along to week number 12, and this is where I kick it off here. And of course, we got 3 Thanksgiving Day matchups here. Of course, the one I'll definitely have a vested interest in is of course the one on NBC on Thanksgiving night, the Atlanta Falcons and the New Orleans Saints, and then of course the Sunday slate, Oakland and Baltimore. That could be another good one there. And of course Jacksonville and Buffalo. Once again, it's of course the rematch from the AFC wildcard game. Seattle and Carolina. And the only reason why I say Cleveland, Cincinnati, it's the Battle of the Ohio's. So, and of course, the Giants and the Eagles. And of course, San Francisco and Tampa Bay. That should be another good one there. Arizona and the Cardinals and the Chargers. Pittsburgh and Denver. Of course, Green Bay and Minnesota on Sunday Night Football, and then basically wrapping it up with the Tennessee Titans and the Houston Texans. So that's pretty much all that needs to be said there. So, Florio, it's yours.
Thanksgiving only means one thing. We celebrate it. We celebrate Turkey Day the ravishing way, no doubt about it. And well, 3 games on Thanksgiving, of course. 12:30 on CBS. You have what I consider the appetizer: the Chicago Bears against the Detroit Lions. Not much of a game there. Detroit should win that one easily. And then at 4:30 on Fox, while this is the game that everyone will probably be having, the big turkey dinner with all the trimmings, obviously. The Washington Redskins against the Dallas Cowboys. I'd give that one a look, Bullock. I mean, Alex Smith against Dak Prescott. I mean, I like that matchup. I really do. I think that's got potential to be something really special. Who will ever forget a few years ago on Thanksgiving when RG3 and the Redskins went up against against Tony Romo and the Cowboys, and that ended up being a 5-star shootout. The Redskins winning, I think it was like 38-31 or something like that. So I got faith in that one. I do agree about the final game, the primetime game, dessert as I call it. Ooh, is this going to be a fun dessert? The Atlanta Falcons, the New Orleans Saints in the Superdome. Their second meeting, Matt Ryan, Drew Brees. Enough said there. Seattle against Carolina. I like that matchup very much. Russell Wilson, Cam Newton, two dynamic dual threat quarterbacks. Should be a great one there. Jacksonville and Buffalo. Buffalo's got revenge on their mind, no doubt about it. That wild card game, that defensive battle that Jacksonville won 10-3. So back on January 7th. So this time it's in the cold of Buffalo, Thanksgiving weekend. Um, Jacksonville probably will win, but don't count out Buffalo. That's all I can say. Two great defenses there. Oakland and Baltimore, I agree with that one. That should be a good one. Derek Carr and Joe Flacco should be a great one there. San Francisco, Tampa Bay, sleeper matchup, I think. Jimmy G and crew against Jameis Winston. Giants and Eagles part 2 in Philadelphia. Eli Manning and OBJ going up against the Super Bowl champs. Pittsburgh and Denver, a lot of history with those two. A lot of playoff games, divisionals, and AFC championships. They'll be meeting up in Denver. Big Ben, Le'Veon Bell, and Antonio Brown against Von Miller in that defense. Should be a good one in the Mile High. Green Bay and Minnesota, Sunday night. Aaron Rodgers returning to Minnesota. You remember Anthony Barr, we all know, broke the collarbone, changed the complexion of both team seasons with that injury alone. And then Monday Night Football with Tennessee and Houston, Marcus Mariota, Deshaun Watson, another great collegiate quarterback matchup. So we'll see how that one turns out. So that takes care of week number 12. Let's go to week number 13. What a Thursday night matchup here. I absolutely love this matchup. The New Orleans Saints against the Dallas Cowboys. First to 40 or 50 win should win that one in Jerry World. Drew Brees, Dak Prescott. Oh, yeah. It's going to be fun. Baltimore Ravens against the Atlanta Falcons. I love that matchup as well. Joe Flacco, Matt Ryan. Should be a good one in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Carolina and Tampa Bay. Like I said, they've been playing some close games lately. I think we'll have another close competitive game there in Tampa. Los Angeles Chargers against the Pittsburgh Steelers. A lot of history with those two. Phillip Rivers, Ben Roethlisberger, a part of that loaded draft class of 2004. The first Buddy Bowl, the Buffalo Bills and the Miami Dolphins, only because of the Buddy Bowl history. Myself and Jason Hixenbaugh representing Buffalo, MF and Eric Carrier and their crew representing the Miami Dolphins. Denver and Cincinnati. I like that matchup. The Bronco defense against that great Bengal offense of Andy Dalton and AJ Green. The LA Rams against Detroit. That should be a good one. Jared Goff and Brandon Cooks and crew going up against Matthew Stafford. Indy and Jacksonville, dependent on Andrew Luck's health, of course. Kansas City and Oakland. That's always fun when they get together, especially in the black hole. I love this 425 matchup. This is another potential Super Bowl preview, and this is the Super Bowl I was so hoping for this past year. The Minnesota Vikings and the New England Patriots at Gillette Stadium. Kirk Cousins, Stephon Diggs, and the Vikings against Tom Brady, Gronk, Julian Edelman. Yeah, that's going to be a fun one at Gillette. I wouldn't be surprised if that ends up being the game of the week right there. Sunday Night Football, the San Francisco 49ers against the Seattle Seahawks. Richard Sherman returning to Seattle as a 49er. I got a feeling he's going to get crucified. That's all I'm going to say. The 12th man, they are not going to welcome him with open arms. I'll tell you that right now. Get ready for a Roman Reigns-like crucifixion there, or crucifixion or whatever. And then Monday Night Football, the Washington Redskins and the Philadelphia Eagles. Alex Smith and company going up against the Super Bowl champs. So a lot of good ones in Week 13. So nothing more to say except Bullock. Richard Sherman returning to Seattle as a Niner. And, of course, Minnesota and New England. Man, I wanted that so bad in this past Super Bowl. Could you imagine if we had gotten those two in this last Super Bowl in Minnesota? Could you imagine how fun that would have been? Whoa.
Oh, man, that definitely would have been a whole heck of a lot of fun, if I might say so myself. So, yeah, I mean, when it comes to week number, it's 13, right?
Yes.
All right, I just wanted to be sure. Yeah, Thursday night, I mean, New Orleans and Dallas, that could be a good one. Baltimore and Atlanta, another good one there. The LA Rams and the Detroit Lions, that's another good one. Arizona Green Bay, that could be one I could watch too. Of course, a rematch of that wild card game with that crazy finish with Aaron Rodgers with another Hail Mary. So, yeah, Indianapolis and Jacksonville, that's another game that I'll have interest in. Of course, Buffalo and Miami. The Chargers and the Steelers, that's another one there. Of course, Carolina and Tampa Bay. Of course, the Kansas City Chiefs and the Oakland Raiders. The Minnesota Vikings against the New England Patriots. And of course, the 49ers and the Seahawks on Sunday Night Football. And of course, the Redskins and the Eagles on Monday night. So there's really nothing more that needs to be said. So let's move right along to week number 14. And I will start it off here. And the first game that I have a lot of interest in, the Jaguars and the Titans to kick off week number 14. The Atlanta Falcons and the Green Bay Packers, that's another one there. The Indianapolis Colts and the Houston Texans, another game that could be of interest. The Baltimore Ravens and the Kansas City Chiefs. The Saints and the Buccaneers, that's another one there. The Bengals and the Chargers, that's another one. Denver and San Fran, one of the late games. Where's the Eagles and the Cowboys, Steelers and Raiders, and of course on Monday Night Football, Minnesota and Seattle. So those are my standout games. So Florio, I give it to you.
I agree with Jacksonville and Tennessee. Absolutely. Blake Bortles and the Jag defense against Marcus Mariota and crew in Nashville. The Giants and the Redskins, their second meeting with Eli Manning and Alex Smith. New Orleans and Tampa. In Tampa should be a good one there with Drew Brees and Jameis Winston. New England and Miami, only because it's the second meeting with those two. Another buddy bowl there, Bullock and Derek with Patriot Nation against MF and Eric Carrier and the Dolphin crew. Baltimore and Kansas City, absolutely. We'll see how Patrick Mahomes handles that Raven defense and Joe Flacco. Indy and Houston, we'll see how that one goes. Atlanta and Green Bay, absolutely. That's the standout early game right there. Matt Ryan, Julio Jones against Aaron Rodgers and crew. Should be a great one at Lambeau. Should be a frozen tundra by then. Denver and San Fran. Von Miller in that Bronco. How's Jimmy Garoppolo going to handle Von Miller in that Bronco defense? We'll see. Cincinnati and the Chargers at the StubHub Center. Andy Dalton and Phillip Rivers. And AJ Green and Antonio Gates. Yeah, definitely looking forward to that one. Philly and Dallas Part 2, this time in Jerry World. That's got potential to be something really special. Steelers and the Raiders. Long history with those two, especially in the 70s. I mean, those two had one of the best rivalries of the 1970s. Of course, that rivalry has cooled off a bit, but we'll see what happens when Big Ben and the Steelers go up against Derek Carr and the Raiders on a Sunday night. Should be fun. And then Monday night, Minnesota and Seattle. Two great defenses. The Viking defense against the Legion of Boom, minus Richard Sherman. Should still be a fun one, though, I think. So that takes care of week 14. On to week 15. There is a note here. Flexibility for Saturday games in weeks 15 and 16. Also part of the 2018 schedule. In week 15, there will be 2 games played on Saturday on NFL Network. The game times to be determined. In week 16, 2 of 4 possible games will be scheduled for Saturday. Baltimore and the Chargers, Jacksonville, Miami, Giants and Indy, or Washington, Tennessee. Start times and Saturday games for week 15 and 16 will be announced no later than following week 8. The non-Saturday games on Sunday, so get that out of the way. Thursday Night Football, we got the Chargers against the Chiefs at Arrowhead. Always fun when they get together. There are 2 Saturday games. Pay no attention to either one of them. You got Cleveland against Denver and Houston against the Jets. Neither one of them are going to be any good, I think. Green Bay and Chicago, obviously renewing the oldest rivalry in NFL history. Detroit and Buffalo. Matthew Stafford and company against Buffalo. AJ McCarron and crew. And that Bill defense. Tampa Bay and Baltimore. Jameis Winston, Joe Flacco. I like that matchup. Oakland and Cincinnati. Derek Carr, Andy Dalton. Oh, yeah, that's going to be a good one down there in Cincy. Tennessee and the Giants. We'll see how Marcus Mariota and crew fare in the Meadowlands against Eli and OBJ. Washington and Jacksonville. Alex Smith, the Redskins, against that vaunted Jaguar D. Dallas and Indianapolis. Of course, the theme has been Andrew Luck's health, obviously. Seattle and San Francisco, Richard Sherman, another chance against his former team, this time in his new home of Levi's Stadium. The final 2 games on the Sunday slate, a double main event. What a way to start it off at 4:25 on CBS. The best rivalry in the AFC today. The New England Patriots and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Tom Brady and Ben Roethlisberger one more time. Of course, you got Gronk and Julian Edelman as well for the Patriots. And, of course, we can't forget about Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown. Who will ever forget the 5-star classic they had last December with New England winning 27-24, a game-ending interception by Duron Harmon. What a finish to that one. And then from there, the other half of that double main event, Sunday Night Football, the Philadelphia Eagles and Los Angeles Rams. Remember, that's where Carson Wentz was injured in Los Angeles against the Rams, so you know he's got revenge on his mind. And they had a 5-star shootout there last year with Philly winning, I believe it was like 43-36. So I wouldn't be surprised if we end up getting another high-scoring affair with those two. And then a phenomenal Monday night matchup: the New Orleans Saints and the Carolina Panthers in Charlotte. Drew Brees and Cam Newton. So really nothing more to say. Michael Bullock come on back in week 15. Obviously, a double main event. Your Patriots against the Steelers, the best rivalry in the AFC today. And of course, Philly and the Rams. Oof, now that's a double main event.
Oh, that's definitely a double main event. Definitely worth watching. Uh, yeah, of course, starting off on Thursday night with the Chiefs against the Chargers. And of course, on to Sunday with Arizona and Atlanta. That could be a good one there. And Tampa Bay and Baltimore. Detroit and Buffalo could be another good one. Green Bay and Chicago, just because it's a rivalry game. Of course, Oakland, Cincinnati, that's another one there. Dallas and Indianapolis. Washington and Jacksonville could be another good one, another one there to keep an eye on. Seattle and San Fran. And of course, like you said, the double main event with the Patriots and Steelers at 4:25, and of course Sunday Night Football with the Eagles and the Rams, and then of course the Saints and the Panthers wrap it up week 15. So yeah, that's pretty much my standouts, and of course yeah, so let's move on to week number 16, and there are no there are actually no Thursday night games here. Week 15 turns out to be the last of the Thursday night games, because after that, next 2 weeks are Sundays, and well, in this case with week 16, it's with Sunday games and Monday games, and of course the usual week 17 all Sunday. So, but first off, week 16, of course, the Bills and the Patriots is the interest that I have with that, and of course Washington and Tennessee, that's another one there. The Atlanta Falcons and the Carolina Panthers, that's another good one there. That could be worth interest. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Dallas Cowboys. Minnesota Vikings and the Detroit Lions. Houston Texans and the Philadelphia Eagles. Then moving on to the late afternoon games. Baltimore and the LA Chargers. The LA Rams and the Arizona Cardinals, that's another one there. The Pittsburgh Steelers and the New Orleans Saints, that's definitely a game I definitely have interest in. Kansas City Chiefs and the Seattle Seahawks. How is Patrick Mahomes going to handle the 12th man? And of course, the Denver Broncos and the Oakland Raiders. So yeah, there's really nothing that needs to be said. Florio, it is yours.
Week 16 for me, the Giants in Indianapolis. Eli Manning against Andrew Luck should be a good one there in Lucas Oil Stadium. Houston and Philadelphia. I love that matchup. Deshaun Watson, J.J. Watt. We'll see how Carson Wentz and that dynamic offense go up against J.J. Watt and that vaunted Texan defense. Washington Redskins against the Tennessee Titans. Alex Smith against Marcus Mariota. Tampa Bay and Dallas. Should be a good one there. Jameis Winston and along with Dak Prescott and crew. Minnesota and Detroit at Ford Field. Looking forward to that one. Second meeting with Buffalo and New England. That's the other Buddy Bowl. Me and Jason Hickson ball against Bullock, Derek, and Patriot Nation. Atlanta Falcons and the Carolina Panthers. Second meeting with Matt Ryan and Cam Newton. Baltimore and the Chargers. That's going to be a good one, I think. Joe Flacco, Phillip Rivers. Pittsburgh Steelers and the New Orleans Saints. First to 40 or 50 wins that one. Ben Roethlisberger and Drew Brees. Oh my goodness, that's got potential to be a lot of fun. Kansas City and Seattle, an old AFC West rivalry renewed. Sunday night for now. Will it stay there? We'll see, because you never know with the flex schedule, and we'll see how that goes. But Patrick Mahomes against the 12th man, the Legion of Boom. Oh, yeah, it's going to be a long night for that young man, I think. And then Christmas Eve, the Denver Broncos and the Oakland Raiders in the Black Hole. Season finale of Monday Night Football. John Gruden starting Monday Night Football season and ending it. So we'll see how that goes. And then week 17, all divisional matchups. The standout, not really too many standouts here, I'm afraid. Obviously, Miami and Buffalo from the Buddy Bowl perspective. Philadelphia and Washington. Indianapolis and Tennessee. Detroit and Green Bay. Jacksonville and Houston. Oakland and Kansas City. Carolina and New Orleans. Dallas and the Giants. Cincinnati and Pittsburgh. Atlanta and Tampa Bay. Chargers and Denver and San Francisco against the Rams in the Coliseum. Oh, a lot more standouts than I thought. Okay. So that's all I can say there for week 17, the all divisional week. So Michael Bullock, let's get your thoughts on the divisional week of week 17, the all divisional matchups.
I mean, yeah, definitely. I mean, those divisional matchups definitely are. Oh, give me just a minute here. I'm trying to get this back up here. I mean, like you said, not a lot of standouts with of course, with this being the divisional matchups for week number 17. I mean, Miami and Buffalo from, of course, Detroit and Green Bay, Jacksonville and Houston, Oakland, Cincinnati, Carolina and New Orleans, Indianapolis and Tennessee, Philadelphia, Washington, San Fran and LA, Arizona and Seattle. So, yeah, that's pretty much going to do it for me. So, yeah, so I think that's it. So, I say, I think we're gonna wrap it up, huh, Florio?
Yes, indeed. With this being our NFL schedule release special, obviously we will not have Major League Baseball power rankings. But I'll tell you right now, if we were having the power rankings, Boston Red Sox would obviously be the number one team, hands down. So we're not gonna go any.
Oh, they would be the number one team, and as of just right now, they just took the lead on a grand slam by Mitch Moreland.
Oh my goodness!
7-3 now in the top of the six. And this just happened moments ago.
In the immortal words of Harry Met Sally, I'll have what they're having. That's all I'm going to say on that. My goodness, I mean,
yeah, all that talk going into the season of the Yankees. I mean, thinking that they were going to be the kings of the division. Well, Red Sox are saying, "Hey, don't forget about us."
They're off to the best 18 game start since the Milwaukee Brewers had a similar start all the way back in 1987. So I know, Bullock, a quick thought. I mean, I know you couldn't be any more excited right now. Some of the guys at my work, I mean, they are beyond over the moon, but I can't imagine how over the moon you are, man.
I knew they could get off to a good start, but
16-2.
I never envisioned 16-2. I mean, and if they win, they'll be 17-2. I mean, goodness gracious. And I mean, go back to opening day. I mean, they lost a crusher. I mean, they were leading like 4-0 early in Tampa, and it was Joe Kelly in the bullpen that blew it. And they've only lost one since then, and that was in Game 2 of the series against the Yankees.
Mm-hmm.
But
Right.
and
So
those are the only two losses. So who knows if that first game didn't go the way it did, and
they would
they
have had 1
actually won
loss.
that game, who knows? They'd be 17-1.
I cannot believe how incredible this season has started for the Red Sox. I mean, they keep this up. I mean, this could be a year, 5 years in the making. So, could it be a first World Series title in 5 years? They keep playing like
Well,
this. We'll
well,
see.
let's not get too overzealous about it. It's early in the season.
Absolutely, but they keep playing like this. They're going to be the team to beat, no doubt about it. So,
Yeah, I
but if
think
we
they
were,
sent a message to your team, Florio, that
yeah, they sure
hey,
did.
hey, we're back-to-back division champs, and we're determined to make it three in a row.
Keep playing like this, and you're going to do that and then some. So, my God, that's unbelievable. So, no doubt about it. If we were doing the power rankings, they hands down would have been number one. So, but that will put the bow on this 2018 Strictly Sports NFL schedule release special. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in. But we're going to wrap it up with our quick shout outs. So, Michael Bullock, you get the ball rolling on that, and then I'll set up the feature content.
Yeah, of course. We thank you so much for tuning in for our NFL schedule release edition of Strictly Sports. Of course, shout outs to all of our tremendous fans and viewers out there who support all of our shows. Of course, shout outs to all of our super fans out there. You guys know who you are. Of course, the first lady of the Wrestling Forum, Dee Dee Woodson. And of course, to all of our friends from our high school days, you guys know who you are. And of course, to Michael Fletcher, who couldn't be with us because of his work commitments. Of course, all of our news personalities from 6, 10, and 12. Of course, all of our personalities uh, from ESPN, Fox Sports, MLB Network, NFL Network, NBA TV, and the NHL Network, and all the other networks out there. And of course, our friends from the Road Show. Of course, the former co-hosts Mary Larson and Megan Mooney. And of course, to Will, Brendan, and Michaela. So, yeah, that's pretty much going to do it for me. So, until Monday night for Ridiculously Raw, this is Mike Bullock saying thank you all so very much for tuning in. Of course, you know the routine. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, and enjoy your weekend, everyone. So, Florio, take us home and set up the content.
Yes, indeed. Special shout out to all of our tremendous fans and viewers out there who continue to make our shows as over as they are. We appreciate it as always. You are the best fans in the world. Of course, the First Lady of the Wrestling Forum, Dee Woodson, Kevin Woodson and the Woodson family, Matt Ward, Jason Hicksonbaugh, Daniel Luttrell from the UK, our other First Ladies, with Kaiser Butler and Lexi Galloway, and of course, we can't forget about Megan Silva, who we went to SmackDown Live with the other night. What a great time that was. And of course, the newest member of our family, of our Strictly Sports and Wrestling Forum family. We're glad to have him, Adam Mitchell, um, who also went with us. I mean, it was a pleasure to meet him for the first time, and the phenomenal, wonderful night Tuesday night when we went to SmackDown Live. So yeah, that's definitely a memory we're gonna cherish, and that's a night that's not gonna leave our hearts anytime soon. I'll tell you that. And of course, our other crew members, Tommy Souza, Eric Carrier, Jimmy Alden, Alvarez, and Rob Parsons, and of course, good old MF Michael Fletcher. Damn shame he had to miss this show. I really wanted him on this show tonight because this is one of our big shows of the year. But I'm hopeful that he'll maybe have a video of his own or something. I don't know, but we'll see. But really, I was really hoping he'd be on this show tonight. But it is what it is. We all have lives outside of YouTube, as Derek says. So, and of course, speaking of Derek, of course, Derek Ferrera, who did a great tribute video to the late great Bruno Sammartino the other afternoon. So give that a look when you have a minute. Bullet Club Soldier 445, and and of course our personalities from 6, 10, and 12, ESPN, FS1,
MLB Network, NHL Network, NBA TV, the NFL Network, who did a great job during that schedule release special on Thursday night. Great work there. And of course, Lindsey McCormick, Stata Sorrell, Chantel McKay from the Golf Channel, absolutely amazing. And of course, our friends on the Road Show, Will Gilbert, Brandon Kirby, and Michaela Johnson, the former co-hosts Megan Mooney and Mary Larson. And of course, last but not least, my wonderful friends and church family over at Oasis Race Ministries on 464 Silver Spring Street in Providence. If you need a church home, check them out. Exit 25 off Route 95. Sunday morning at 9, Bible study. A little after 10, Sunday morning service. And then another Bible study Wednesday night at 7. Other things going on. So that's pretty much it for that. So Monday night, we got Ridiculously Raw. Immediately following Monday Night Raw, the first Raw after the Superstar Shakeup from St. Louis, Brock Lesnar scheduled to be there for the first time since WrestleMania, since his WrestleMania win over Roman Reigns. We'll see how that goes and how the shakeup will affect Monday Night Raw going forward. And this week, I promised I will have my Tony's take on 205 Live and Impact Wrestling. Very special 205 Live because we were there for that as well. We stayed for 205 Live after SmackDown Live on Tuesday night. And wait till you hear what I have to say about the main event of 205 Live. You're not going to believe what I have to say about that. And then Impact Wrestling, my Impact Wrestling review, the Go Home Show for Redemption. And I'll also have some thoughts on Redemption because the Redemption pay-per-view is Sunday night. And I'll share the results of that and maybe give some quick thoughts about it. So we'll see. So that's Monday night. And then Tuesday night, hopefully we'll have MF for the Cerebral Smack Talk over on his channel, Brace Bay 95. SmackDown Live, their first show after the Superstar Shakeup from Louisville. And then we'll probably have the Mikey's Mindset ready to go for that. And next Friday night, we got Strictly Sports. I'm not sure what the docket will be. Maybe we'll go with the docket we were supposed to have this past week. I don't know. But we'll see what Derek has in store. So, all right. So that's it. So until Monday night for Ridiculously Raw, it's Anthony Floyer here for Michael Bullock. And in spirit, good old MF Michael Fletcher, D.D. Woodson, and Derek Ferrera. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed weekend. And until Monday night for Ridiculously Raw, you've been watching this very special edition of Strictly Sports, our 2018 NFL schedule release special, right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube.com. For everybody who's been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio, so long, and bye, everybody, bye.